Yeah, kind of near Sacramento. Mm-hmm. A couple hours from Sacramento, but still near Sacramento. So it's beautiful. Is it Nevada City? California? Mm-hmm. Yeah. They can get to Nevada City, where they used to have the Nevada City Cycling Classic.
Oh, yeah.
And so, completely useless information for everybody now. Mm-hmm. But, she's going for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I think she comes on Monday. So they're going to be hooting it up. Mm-hmm. You and I are both stuck with dogs.
Yep.
Yeah, mine are younger than yours, though. So
yeah,
I get to enjoy them longer.
That's right.
Bender will bark during the show because Michelle is going to go cook, which means she's going to pick up burritos. That's my lady. Yeah, exactly.
Good burritos.
Only problem is she gets a lot of the really, really hot salsa.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Tomorrow, when you work in a high school, doesn't make it very good. Because I can't poop in public places. I can't. Never been able to. I have a very difficult time pooping in public places. I need privacy.
Not me.
Really?
Yeah, you could. Hey, poop in the corner. I'd go do it. All right.
Well, I'm glad we put the bathroom in the other space.
Yeah.
All right, time for the rhyme time and playing bikes. Down to just 2 for tonight. Oh, how so sad. I guess Jackson just cares more about grades than his dad. Waples brothers come together as a pair. The only way you can tell them is height and facial hair. Welcome to 495th episode of the longest standing podcast in the sport of cycling. One and only Packfiller Cycling Podcast. Think of us as post-ride beer with several friends and one asshole. And it's a 50-50 shot tonight, guys. I am potentially that asshole. My name's Pat Bulger. Tonight's Scratch Prologue. The good old Scratch Prologue, powered by Scratch Labs Fuel and Hydration, is as follows. And I thought it was appropriate. Because we're old. What's your favorite Robert Redford movie?
Starred in or even produced or
either or. I think anything he had to do, because he did write did he direct Ordinary People?
Yes.
That one was disturbing.
And I don't know at what level and a river runs through it.
Oh yes. I think he directed it. So but we've given away the answers probably. But so I'll get to the introductions. He is leading the race for the most consistent member of the Packfiller, Mr. Paul Main.
We're stalwarts, both of us.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'm not going to lie. I am an English teacher, and I actually had to look that one up this morning.
Did
I was like, the fuck is that one mean again? I can't remember. How are you, man?
Doing well, thanks.
And Mr. Redford passed away yesterday.
Yeah.
Great.
Cheers.
The saddest thing in my life was telling high school students that they needed to go see a Robert Redford movie this weekend or rent one, and they all went, who?
Yeah.
And I just went, a little of me died inside.
Is it in color?
Yeah, exactly. I have showed in past classes The Sting, which actually went over well. The kids actually kind of got it. So there we go.
Well, it's a little gangster-like. And that's
exactly. Different theme when I see Robert Redford pretending to be a gangster in modern times. What's your favorite movie from Mr. Redford?
I did say it. A River Runs Through It.
River Runs Through It. That was that Brad Pitt's first starring film?
No, he was in like Thelma and Louise.
But that wasn't
was a star.
Yeah.
And he didn't really star that either. He just played.
He was a supporting role, wasn't he?
Yeah.
That one. Yeah. That's where everybody fell in love with him, though. Even more so. It? That's a great movie. I love that one.
Wasn't he in some like Civil War thing or Cold Mountain?
He was in.
I can't remember.
Legends of the Fall.
Oh, there you go.
God,
that's probably his first big one.
Yeah,
I would think.
Okay, I gave you that. And then Fight Club came. But we're jumping from Redford to Brad Pitt.
Yeah. See what you did?
I did it. Went down the rabbit hole. My introduction, I am actually winning the most consistent member of the Packfiller, but that's only because I live here, and it's my toys. I'm Pat Bulger, and I would say Butch and Sundance. But I think I saw The Sting first. Mm-hmm. My dad made me watch The Sting first, and I was a little kid, and that one kind of stuck with me. I just realized I love 3 Days of the Condor too. Great spy movie. So if you've never heard of any of these, go watch them. I mean, some of them are really solid.
What did you think of The Natural?
I have never seen all of The Natural, and that I regret that because somebody posted that final iconic scene. right at the climactic moment, and that sounded wrong. But I forgot how good that film won, like Oscars, and it was really well received.
Yeah. I mean, it was, I enjoyed it at the time because it was baseball.
Yeah, I get it. So if in case you're wondering why the introductions are so short, that's because it's just the two of us tonight, you guys. Jackson's got school. Sam has marital responsibilities, and David, I think, is dead in a ditch somewhere.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't respond to texts.
No.
At all.
Well, he moved office.
Oh.
Like, in this last month, and I think there's a lot of adjustments.
Oh, okay.
I'm making an excuse for him.
Yeah. I was thinking on my way home, because you can hear that I've still got a little of the sinus things going on. I'm on my third round of motherfucking antibiotics. And,
is that what it says on the pill box?
Fucking antibiotics.
Motherfucking.
Yeah, third round. And these ones are even more powerful. In fact, they claim that they could cause tendon or muscular damage. And I will say that my right calf is kind of wonky right now. I like climbing stairs. It feels like when you go running and you know you shouldn't, it kind of feels like that. And then the other day I woke up in my it's not my dominant hand, so don't go there. My right hand, the joints were sore, not my left. Yeah, my right hand was sore yesterday morning. I'm like, this is fucking weird. But I think it's getting a little better. I hope it's getting a little better. I'm really sick of this shit. But I was on my way home today, and I was going, God, you know what? David's moved his office. I should just have David be my doctor. Then my entire brain went, don't you fucking dare. Because how would David feel coming over here going, Pat, I told you to stop drinking. Doctor's orders were to stop drinking. And we couldn't separate the doctor-patient relationship. I don't think so. You know.
Well, his wife's in my network for my insurance.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, and in fact, her practice is in the same office where I go to.
Oh, okay.
I told my wife that, I was thinking about switching doctors. I don't dislike my doctor.
Yeah.
He's a super nonsense guy.
Yeah.
So I go in for my yearly, and it's like, I'm feeling,
Yeah.
Yep. Ask some questions. Does, blood pressure, gets all my vitals, and says, well, okay.
See you in a year.
Yeah. And when I've had problems, like from my crash, he's like, well, whereabouts is that? Yeah. You could do an x-ray.
Yeah.
But there's no treatment for it. So I'm like, I'm not going to pay,
that
$40, $50. Yeah. And then like, oh, I got a broken rib. Or whatever.
See, that's where I was thinking about. I needed to change my doctor just because of, that BMI fiasco from 2 episodes ago, where I was insulted by the fact that my doctor's office thinks I'm obese. and then just this week I said, hey, I'm on the 4th day of the antibiotics. Symptoms are actually getting worse because 2 days ago I had no taste or smell. They were gone. And so 2 days ago, and I guess emailing your doctor is kind of above and beyond. I don't know. I shouldn't expect it, but I did it. And so today I got the response saying, you need to schedule another appointment if the antibiotics don't work. And we recommend a COVID test. And so I was like, okay, I don't have fucking COVID. This has been a problem that's been with me since May. When am I going to get the ENT referral?
Yeah.
I keep scheduling appointments. You keep putting me on antibiotics. When am I going to be able to go to an ENT doctor? And that doctor's going to say, oh, you got this.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, and it's done. I just hate the insurance system where it's all who gets paid first.
The U.S. is screwed on that.
It is.
It's terrible.
It is. So speaking of that, cycling lives. How's cycling life? I will start since I'm in the middle of it. I did get a decent week. I got 5 workouts in. The longest was only about 90 minutes, though. I got a road ride in, and it was all zone 2, and it was nothing to write home about, but it was really nice to be able to get out and do that. And then this week I think is going to suck because I'm under this constant paranoia that if I ride any kind of intensity, that all of a sudden these antibiotics are going to, tear a calf muscle. But I'm still going out this fucking weekend.
Good.
And I've sworn way too many times at the beginning of this podcast.
We'll climb White Road. That should be good for you. Those tendons.
I would do it. I seriously would do it, but I wouldn't attack it, but I'd do it. No.
I'm doing that tomorrow.
Are you really?
Yeah.
How's it all going?
This has been a bad week. There was just a lot going on, trying to get things squared away with my wife leaving to Germany. We had 2 wine events back to back.
Oh, that sounds horrible.
Yeah, so Thursday I was out with Dismount Dave.
Oh, shit.
And we went to Benedito's, the supplier of Packfiller beer.
Our fine beverages that we're imbibing upon right now, and the IPA will probably be gone in a day.
And so, yeah, we had a couple there, and then, because my limit is 3 now. I can't have 3.
Is that self-imposed, or is that...
It's self-imposed to prevent damage. So then I get home, and because Terra Blanca is this great winery, and I won't go deep into it. But, but
you like them. I'm cool plugging them.
We stumbled across, we went to Wine Fest back in June, and we were like, I don't want to go home right away, The alcohol that they were serving at Wine Fest was not,
really?
No beer to my liking.
Okay.
There's a brewery in town. I'm not going to, you like them because they have a great view of the river.
Oh, yes.
That one.
Yes.
But I don't particularly like their beers.
They're hopped up.
Yeah. I mean, it's not enjoyable. But anyway, so we went to Terra Blanca and we had a tasting, and then everybody there is just great and very informative and not snobs. And then they had a wine class. We went to the wine class. And we met some people, and they're like, "You're not a member? Oh, it's great." And the membership's unbelievable, and their wine is fantastic.
Oh, wow.
So we find ourselves kind of like, hey, want to go to Terra Blanca and have a wine? Because wine tasting is free for members.
Whoa. Oh, okay.
So we go there and we sample, I think there's like 7 or 8.
Really?
Typically, for free. And then we usually walk away with a bottle, because that's a smart thing, because you're like, hey, you just, ignited the fire. So, I'll take that $60 bottle of Onyx.
Yeah, exactly.
And so anyway, at Dismount, drank, split a bottle of wine with Renee. Then Thursday we had it was a membership. That was Friday. So Thursday was Dave. Then we had membership honoring the members there. And so the wine was all free, and they were really good wines. And then end up purchasing quite a bit too. I think that's the purpose that they do this.
Yeah, they're
and then
not
we
idiots.
had another 101 class on Saturday.
Oh shit!
So I was like, I'm just like, I don't feel well. Friday when I wowoke up after Dismount and stuff, I was it's just a little off. You know what I mean?
I know.
Not bad. I mean, it's like, why do I feel so bad? And then I had 4 drinks.
4 is really But for 3 days in a row, you had 3 drinks. Or 4 drinks.
I had 4, and then I probably had on Friday 5, 6.
Okay.
It's downtown, so we just get to walk home.
Yeah.
And then the wine tasting, then with the class, that's probably another 5 or 6. So I dried out on Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah.
I came home the other day and I poured myself a little dram of whiskey, and I knew I had to get this whole sinus shit fixed when I took a sip, and the only thing I could sense was the tingle it gives your mouth. That was it. I couldn't taste the flavor. I couldn't taste anything like that. I made homemade pesto that night for my wife's birthday with pesto and chicken and penne pasta, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, your kitchen smells so good." I'm like, thanks. I had to have Michelle come into the kitchen and taste the pesto for me because I got nothing.
What do you have today? Can you taste?
I have a little bit. Yeah. In fact, I texted my wife in rejoice to say, I can taste my kombucha, because my doctor told me, the pharmacist told me, he says, this antibiotic is going to kick the shit out of every bacteria, both good and bad, in your body. So I recommend taking it in the morning, and then a couple hours later, at least 2 hours later, find some kombucha or yogurt or something like that to start rebuilding the good bacteria in your gut. So I finally tasted kombucha today, and then unfortunately last night I got home late, and so my wife ordered a pizza from not Benedito's, unfortunately, and but I actually tasted the slice today a little bit. And it was a small victory. It was yeah. But one of the classrooms I work in has an air freshener on the wall, and I still can't smell it. So Although, wait, this has nothing to do with cycling. Nothing we have to say has anything to do with cycling. Today, there was a kid in my classroom that sprayed perfume, and I hate that shit when they do that because they're like, "Oh, that smells good," and then they leave. Oh. No, it was the boyfriend of the girl, and he just went, it was like vanilla sunrise or some bullshit like that, and so the whole class started smelling like it, and I smelled it. Holy shit!
Yeah,
baby steps.
Yeah, it's coming.
I want this shit to be gone, man. I'm gonna start wearing those nose strips, but I don't think I'm gonna wear them on a casual ride because I don't want to walk into Brickwest or something like that.
Peel it off
and have that stupid thing. Well, I'd forget though, and
be because we're assholes, we wouldn't say anything.
Yeah, exactly. Just see how long
until you really need that nose strip to drink beer that Pat.
Oh fuck! Yeah, I tear it off and all the blackheads go with it and all that kind of stuff.
That's good.
Speaking of Brickwest, this takes me to the idea that spawned from our recent times post-ride beers, and the two of us have been at this for way too long. Paul, I did the math. The amount of tales, personalities, and experiences we have had from racing for over 10 combined decades. There's over 100 years of bike racing between the two of us. Fucking hell. It's a real genuine century. Yeah. So I thought it'd be fun, and I talked about it earlier, this back in the day thing, and I actually owe Jens Voigt an apology because I imagined him saying, well, back in the day, so that's why I came up with the title. And I thought tonight we'd kind of play around with this, the concept that we were doing, and hopefully throw some laughs and word of advice and warning about all the stupid and amazing shit that has rolled under our proverbial wheels for combined 100 years. That just blew me away. I went, I'm doing that. That can't be wrong. It can't be right. It can't be 50 and 50. And it just, nothing is 100 years in life. No. Fucking hell. So tonight's reflection / topic, and you and I kind of touched base on this, especially over beers. I just wanted to title it "Getting There," and so let's be real. And I have this as prepared text because I just thought, the 80s and 90s were the Wild West in terms of bike racing. The Le Mans boom, the birth of mountain bikes, the massive success of 7-Eleven, and the experiments that became races like the Wheat Thins Mayor's Cup, Super Week, the Ore-Ida Women's Challenge, and so much more made the season incredibly long and jam-packed, and those were the days. And sometimes getting to races with potentially more of an experience than the actual races themselves. Long miles lead to massive stories, so I want to kind of have some fun and take a bit of a look at getting there through the eyes of two old-ass cyclists. So we're going to talk about the road trips. Sure. I think that's fun. Yep. And as I said, it might touch upon the races themselves, but it might, I think the personalities and all the lunacy that went on, it is so much more enjoyable. What would be your estimate, would be the average amount of races you would attend in a year back in the day?
Out of town.
Yeah.
We're talking about.
Yeah.
At least one every weekend.
Yeah.
Every weekend.
And the season started
April. It started Volunteer Park was the first weekend.
Yeah.
Volunteer Park, and then it would end, and that Volunteer Park, for those who don't know, is in Seattle, and they still have that race.
They do.
And then the last one for me was the last weekend in October, which was, at that time, was called Columbus Day Criterium. It was put on by the Italian Trade Commission. And it was we saw people like Roberto Gaggioli.
Yeah.
I mean, Coors Light team, Crest. It was a national caliber crit in this little park off of Lake Washington. So,
God, I don't think I ever did that one.
Have you ever raced anything in Seward Park?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's a pretty good course. It's not really technical.
But it's where a lot of spring races are. They
have a weekly series there. Yeah.
I would say it was very similar to what I did. It always started around April, and I always remember that, as you said, Volunteer Park being early, and then rolling all the way through. And for cyclists in today's dates, I would hope that would be kind of especially in our region, it's not a brag, but it would be a shock to think that every weekend you were either, we had races here, but we also had races that we were traveling. And then you take into account we had a weeknight Twilight series that was every Tuesday from
That was in April. Started in April, and it would go into August.
Yeah, late August, right before you get to the time change and things like that. And that it was just out of control. Would you? How far would some of these trips take you, from you can recall?
I know I always wanted to do Gastown, and that would have been Vancouver. That a heck of a crit. That would have been a great one to do. Another high quality, and it's still running today. And that's probably would have been the farthest. I'm trying to think. I never got to go to Casper. I never did.
You didn't?
No, I never did Casper.
I drove to it, but I didn't race it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to get to that one. Yeah, exactly.
I never did Stupid Week.
You didn't do it?
No.
Okay.
No.
Milwaukee Super Week was at least 2 weeks long.
Yeah, and it's been replaced with Toad now.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say that would have been the farthest for me. I did race the Olympic Sports Festival. No. Yeah. In Raleigh, North Carolina. So that one might have been the farthest I traveled east in this country. The only time I ever raced out of the country was obviously multiple races in Canada.
Yeah.
Did a lot of that, but
Cranbrook.
Yeah.
Kimberly,
things like that. And those were great races, and it was fun. Do you recall your first away race, your first away experience?
Yeah, it was probably it wasn't that far. Sandpoint had a stage race.
Sandpoint, Idaho, great stage race they had.
It was in Athol, Idaho.
Don't say that with a lisp.
Athol.
What do you call me? Son of a bitch.
And that was the road race, and it went around by, what is that? What bay is that?
Shit, fuck. Bottle Bay. Bottle Bay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
no, it wasn't Bottle Bay.
Anyway.
Oh God, I grew up on that.
The water's so deep there that back in World War II they do submarine testing and stuff. Yeah. But anyway, I went there. I was unattached. I was like 86, 87. It was
Farragut State Park right in there.
Yeah.
So sorry, I'm interrupting because the memories come back.
And they had a mountain bike race in there too.
Yeah.
But I had no support. I had one set of wheels. I slept in my car.
No shit.
Yeah. Well, it was close enough from Athol. I went back home to Spokane, which is about 2.5 hour, 2 hour drive.
2 hour drive, yeah.
And then I returned back, and you had to climb Schweitzer.
Yep. Local ski area.
Yep. And a pretty big one now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I can't ski there anymore. It's too expensive.
Yeah. Jeez.
But that was a 9-mile climb. Time trial.
Yeah. Switchbacks, very alpine-like. You even get to go through a village that's very alpine-looking.
Yeah.
I remember starting. My brother came up to watch me race, my older brother, and it was pissing rain.
Oh.
Hey, to think what we had for gear back then. I had shorts and a jersey.
Yeah. Was that the year Phil Anderson was there?
That was 86. I think I did it in 87.
Okay.
Yeah. Who had the record at the top of that for the longest time.
He did.
But I remember just sitting there just shivering. And he came out, my brother came out with an umbrella, as you're lining up for the TT. And then your legs just feel frozen. You had to cross a railroad track.
Right out of the gates.
Yep.
Yeah. Really good plan.
You're like shaking. It's like you could feel your back wheel kick out with the cheap tubulars that they had. Swallows, if you remember those.
Oh, God, yes.
But, that was it. And I think, staying outside of that, the very first big one that I had to stay in town, because I think I drove every stage. I stayed in.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, because there was a crit the next day, wasn't there?
There was a downtown crit.
So it was a road race and then a hill climb at the end of the road race?
They might have done actually the road race on one day, and was it 3 days? It was just 2 days.
2 days, yeah. So the TT was after the road race.
It was.
That's brutal.
Yeah, that is cruel. They're used to break it down into 4 stages, though. I for some reason remember.
They had a
also.
second crit later.
We did.
On.
Yeah, they did. My first away experience was my first year of racing, probably 1983, and this is sad to say, but it's the same team I'm on now. The same club I'm on now, Arrivee Cycling Club, was started by a guy named Doug Stewart, who went on to work for FSA and all those types of things. And my first away race, we had a team bus. And Paul, you've heard this story, but this is for the sake of the podcast. A team bus that was an old school bus. And I think they took out like every other seat. So we had a little bit of leg room. And in the back of the bus, imagine if you will, they partitioned off like the last 4 seats, and they had one side, they had shelves so you could put all your luggage in. We could put wheels and stuff like that in there. The bus itself was painted white with a red and blue sticker, paint stripe down the side, and then we had a couple sponsors: Barham, Czechoslovakian tire company, Nickel Nick, a local local rag, a little for sale, wanted ads. But in that back, on the other side of the shelves, they put an ergometer, stationary bike bolted to the floor. So we're driving down the road, and you could do erg tests if you wanted to, which is fucking lunacy. But my first trip was to Canada. It was to up near Nelson, BC, and we did what's called an Australian handicap race. And Australian handicaps were basically whoever crossed the line first, but they staged the start. They staggered the start. So the slowest groups would go however many minutes before the next group, all the way back. Then all the way back to the the fastest guys. And so when you started, you were chasing or being chased. It was like a road race pursuit, and it was just balls to the walls fast. And I don't even remember how I did. All I remember was the trip there, and the fact that I was this kid who thought, in the 80s, my music's tastes in Phil Collins and a couple Australian bands was really cool and hip, and I walked onto a bus with people who were Black Flag, who were the Dead Kennedys, who were
Butthole
Surfers, all that kind of stuff, and I learned so much so fast, and I was terrified. I was fucking terrified, and my parents went to the same fucking race, but they were like, "You're going on the bus." And so, and imagine, if you will, this white school bus driving down the road with bike racks that we could fit 30, 40 bikes on the top of this fucking bus. And it was absolutely, it was poetry. I think one of the things I want to bring up the most about this is what staggers me about how we were, I always use the term Camelot sometimes when you talk about things that were just absolutely a magical time period, and you don't take it. I mean, you take it for granted at the time. You just think this is normality. But a bus full of people driving down the road,
mainly teenagers.
Yeah, mainly teenagers, and one adult, figure driving the bus.
And then stinking it up on the erg.
Oh, God, it was, yeah.
But how did you guys clean that out?
I guarantee nobody did.
Oh, man, that's just... Teenage boys are not a good smell.
There were some
before
girls,
they even work out.
Yeah, and then you get onto the bus afterwards, clammy shammy and all that kind of stuff. And everybody, it just had to have been absolutely terrible.
Yeah. Thank goodness Axe wasn't around then.
Oh, fuck. It would have been even worse. Your trip to Arizona that you talk about, and I mean, there's so many stories that within that individual trip. You went down there, that wasn't necessarily a race trip, but I want to talk about the ride-sharing experience with so-called friends. When things went awry in terms of your so-called passengers,
it was Borky was there, and it was my idea. I just said I hate winter. I need to go to the south, and a guy named Mike, who raced for Grannies at the time, and I trained with quite a bit. He was getting ready to go to Belgium that year, and he said the year before he had been down to Tempe, Arizona. I said, I'm doing it. I worked at a bike shop, and I told my boss, got to have the month of January, possibly February. And he goes, yeah, it's like we sell a tube, and I have to pay your wages. Not a problem. And so I saved up quite a bit of money, and then I had a credit card if push came to shove. And then, of course, word got around and Borky joined in. And then Borky had a tendency, and he's probably going to hate me for this, but he watched his pennies really well. He was, with the last name Bork. I don't think he's Scottish, but so anyway, he said, "Hey, there's this guy, Greg R. I'm not going to use his last name, but he used to run point. He followed the national circuit as motorcycle lead, and crits. He was the point and everything like that.
Jesus.
And just to digress, go back a little bit. You and I and Jackson were riding out on a road once, and this motorcycle comes by, and he pulls up.
This was in the past year.
It was about 2-3 years ago.
It was 4 mounts.
Yeah, 4 mounts. Yeah. And I looked over, and this guy, looked at me and kind of nodded. I got on his wheel, and I motor paced probably for a couple of kilometers and stuff. And there was a stop sign. He pulled up his visor, and it was this Greg R. guy.
Oh, my God.
That's just one of those things.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen him since that back in 1990.
Oh, shit.
I lost track of him. So anyway, so he comes along, and he's a photographer, and he's also a travel guide. He guides people up the mountains and stuff. So he's pretty outdoorsy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the 3 of us get in my little GTI, and again, Borky, he's probably pretty smart with his money, and I wasn't. But he says, I tell you what, this is what we need to do. We all pay for a tank of gas on the way down. I said, okay. So I had just filled it before I picked up Borg. And when I go to pick him up, he has
I'm going to check and see before you continue. I'm going to check and see if he's actually listening to this podcast and call him a tight ass douchebag. I said it, Scott.
Yeah.
I said it. Okay.
So I'm looking at all this crap, and he's bringing rollers. And I go, what are you doing? He goes, what if it starts raining? It's a freaking desert.
Yeah.
If it rains in the desert, it's like we just don't ride for that hour at the most. And then the ride, Anyway. So I'm like, no, get rid of that. No, we don't. What, tights? Tights? And so I finally it's a little GTI, it's just, we don't have much room. And then we go and pick up Greg, and Greg's a photographer, and he's got these hard cases with all his photo gear. And I'm like, no, this is not, it's starting off. We haven't even got out of town yet. And so we drive and we start heading, and Borky's parents were AAA, and they had this flip. This is before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this flip map. So you go down and it has.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, you had to read it.
Yeah, you had to read it and stuff.
There was no nice little
voice
that turn left in
at
300
exit 345.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, and at night I'd turn the light on, look down at it, and flip the page, And so we get to the first gas station to fill up. And Borky goes, okay, Paul, you can start it off. I go, what? I just paid for the
first tank.
And he goes, that's your gas. We hadn't started the trip yet. I'm like, whatever.
I wasn't in the car.
Yeah.
I wasn't in the car. It doesn't count.
Yeah.
Scott.
And I'm like, whatever. So I filled it up.
Well played, man.
Yeah, it was well played.
Well played.
And so the next one comes, well, as we travel down south, it starts getting a little more pricey. And so Borky takes a look at the price. We're out in tail end of Utah by now. And then he's like, Greg, you got this one. And he's probably thinking, I wonder if we can make it, stretch it right to
all the
Phoenix.
way.
Yeah. Because you already asked, I know you asked my miles per gallon, but we had 3 bikes on the roof, so that's going to chop that up. So, and I was going through this relationship that I'd cut off, and I kind of wanted to get away. And I was even thinking possibly moving down there.
Okay.
Just,
Yeah.
So, my mind was wandering, and Greg kept saying, if you get tired, I can drive. I'm fine. I'll let you know. If you get tired, he's falling asleep all the time. It's dark. It's wintertime. It's falling. He goes, are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. I'll let you know, Greg. I'll let you know. And I'm sitting there, and we crest over this hill. We're heading into Las Vegas, and you can just see the sea lights. It looks like waves.
Yeah.
It's just like.
Yeah.
And I'm lost. Borky's asleep. He's got about 5 coats on him, and stuff. And he's all tucked away. And Greg's in the passenger seat. And I'm just kind of like thinking about my life, and it's like 2, 3 in the morning.
Thinking about my life. Why?
It just, yeah. Well, it's just like, do I want to stay down there? You just, I'm at a crossroads. I work at a bike shop, and I knew my cycling, like, I'm not going to go any further than just an local amateur racer, which I'm fine with. But
that's a tough pill to swallow when you're young and hopes, making your way. Yeah.
But I was 26 and I was going to turn 27 down there, so I knew realistically.
Yeah.
But you still want to push. You still want to see how far you can go, even on the local or regional type thing. So and my mind's wandering, and all of a sudden, Greg goes, "He okay?" And I'm just about to scream, "What the fuck?" And then Boris going, "What the hell?" It's just like the shouting match going inside of this little GTI. And I said, "Hey," and when things settled down, I said, "Take a look at that." And Greg says, Stop. I got to take a picture of that." I mean, all right. Yeah. What the hell? I had to pee. So, get out of the car. And he said, he puts up a tripod, and he's got all his time. We're there for like 20 minutes. And he took several pictures, and I thought, well, it's got to be pretty good. I mean, he knows what he's doing.
Time lapse or something like that.
Exactly.
Exposure. Yeah.
So we finally have to get gas, and I have to wake Borky up. And it's like the most expensive one.
In Vegas?
It was just outside of Vegas.
Oh, fucking worse. Yeah.
He was not happy. This is not fair. He chose the order.
Yeah.
So
you paid 2 tanks up to that point. Holy shit.
we get into Arizona. And it's like the sun's coming up, and I've been driving for 22 hours or 20 hours. And I'm like, I could feel my head bobbing.
Yeah.
And I wake up Greg, and I said, "Do you want to take over?" And he says, "Yeah." I said, "Okay." And I pull over on the freeway, and we switch, get in there. And I mean, as soon as I sat down, I could just, I was asleep. And the next thing I hear is, we're in the ditch. Greg fell asleep at the wheel. I think he's been driving 10, 15 minutes. That's it. Get out of my car. Get it. I'm taking over. So by the time we got into Arizona,
that's a
we get in Tempe. I had a friend that I knew growing up as a kid, and I reached down to him and I said, "Hey, how's it going?" His name was Danny. And he goes, "Pretty good." And I was at a payphone because that's the only way you could call.
Yeah.
And I said, and I thought maybe we could crash at his place. Well, did you ever? Well, you've seen Racing Arizona.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of where Danny kind of lived in
really?
that. It was, he had changed since he was last time I saw him. Danny was missing a few teeth, and he was in trouble with the law a little bit. And I look back at Greg and Borky. They're kind of like, no, we're not staying here. We're not.
Oh shit!
So we got in. I said, I got to find a place to lay down, and we found this hotel just across from ASU campus. It was called like University Motel.
Yeah.
And it was a dive. And of course, both of them, I don't have the money to pay for it. I'm paying for it, but I'm going to get the first shower, and I get to pick the bed. Yeah. I mean, it's like 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And I just needed just a power nap. And so we, I go in there, take a shower, felt so good. And I'm sitting, and we had MTV on. And I'll never forget this. It was Tom Petty. She's a good girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Loves her mom.
Yeah. And then Free Falling. And I was just standing at the foot of the bed, and he said Free Falling. I just let myself drop. And I fell asleep with my legs dangling out. I think it was a couple of hours I was out. I woke up. I couldn't feel my legs. Went to sleep. And so then we decided, I'll wrap this up, but we decided this is a strange thing, how the universe just kind of works. That we would look for a bike shop. We'd make our own, like where to go and stuff, and kind of develop a relationship. So pulled out the old yellow pages, and I went through, and I'd been down in Mesa and Tempe before, like 4 years prior to, for 2 weeks. So I was kind of familiar, and it's grid. It's so simple. Their streets are so easy to find. So we went around in my car and looked at it, and the last one was Tempe Bike, and we walk in. It's like this big Quonset hut, but it was long, and they had like kids' bikes all the way to high-end road bikes. And the three of us were walking in, And it was 72, 73 degrees,
Yeah.
you know. And we walk in our shorts and short sleeves. And this guy was this mechanic. He had his apron on. He's watching us, and he's looking over at us, and he's just staring at him like, "What the heck's his problem?" He hangs up the phone. He goes, "You boys from Washington?" Yeah. How could you tell? You're wearing shorts in winter.
Oh shit!
I said it's 72. It wasn't this morning, you know.
Oh shit!
And he goes, "You wouldn't happen to know Mike M?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Yeah, we're meeting him down here. He's flying in tomorrow." Yeah, I'm on his ride. I'm picking him up.
God.
His name was Doug Ritter.
Really?
He was a great wrench. And he says, "Do you have a place to stay?" And I said, "No, we don't." Yeah, I'll just talk to my roommate, and you guys can crash until you find a place.
Oh my God!
It was a small 2-bedroom, and we just our bikes and all our stuff was just scattered all over. And yeah, we finally found a place. That's another story about finding the place, but.
There were so many moments like that where you find just random people who would just let you stay with them. I mean, if I love my wife to death, but if she were to know, you know, some of the just random places, because she's always terrified. She kind of sees not necessarily the worst in people, but she sees the worst in society. So she's just like, you're just driving down the road and staying with random people. They're going to carve you up and sell your intestines.
That's my wife, too.
Yeah. I went to Milwaukee Super Week. 2 weeks, for those of you who don't. I think it was at least 2 weeks. I think it was. It had to have been. And my parents, I was 15. My parents put me on a plane. I flew to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. They didn't know who I was staying with. I was supposed to be staying with some sort of a family. I don't even know who the family was. My parents had lined it up. The family bailed. I was staying with some college girls who lived in an apartment in Milwaukee. And
at what age?
I'm 15. And I'm calling my parents saying, "Yeah, we landed. We're good. We're staying. You know, how's the family?" "Oh, we're not staying with them, Mom and Dad. We're staying with, you know, Emma and Jolene and Susie and Beth." And they're like, "Who the hell are those people?" "They're really nice. Bye." You know, and I hang up on them, and just the lunacy of the fact that not only was I there with my parents' credit card. They had no idea how I was getting from race to race. I wasn't checking in with them on a daily basis.
You really couldn't. It was hard with phones, you know.
This show needs a glossary. I need to include. You said yellow pages, and I'm sure half the audience looked at their phones and went, "Huh?" And the fact that all this stuff was going on, and it never occurred to anybody that was not normal. And I don't even know how we got from race to race. I have blanked out so many of these moments in my life. I think it was, again, because I just took it for granted. Like, this is just how it worked. I don't know how we got from those girls' apartment to every single race all over the Milwaukee area. Some of them were more than an hour's drive away.
You think they helped out? Do you remember even?
Nope.
Because they didn't have racks.
No, they didn't have bike racks. They didn't have cars. I remember there was one.
Never rode? Did you ever ride to one?
No, well, I think there were a couple. Whoa, there were a couple that were somewhat close, so we probably did those. But several of them, you know, Tour Holy Hill, which was one of the big stages, I remember was at least over an hour away. And there was a guy, I do remember a guy who rode for not the 7-Eleven team, but there was 7-Eleven development team.
Yeah.
And he drove us around, I think, a little bit. So that must have been it. And I don't know how those things lined up.
I don't know.
Just the absolute lunacy of that. Did you ever suffer a breakdown anywhere?
Yeah, it's another Borky story.
Was it?
Yeah, there was a race. Well, we were heading to Columbus State Criterium. Into the race. It's October. My car had a little steering issue. I didn't want to push it. My GTI. It was just kind of like I could hear the pinion kind of like failing a little bit on that. And it's then 55 miles an hour. You didn't want the wheels to come off, right?
That's going in the glossary too. 55 miles an hour was our speed limit.
Yeah, it took a while to get there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I called my little brother and I said, "Can I borrow your car?" He had this old like 76 Volvo. He says, "Yeah, not a problem." So Borky and I loaded up and we start driving to to we're staying we were staying actually in Tacoma with Christina, who you graduated.
Oh, I went to high school with her. Yeah,
and she had in her 1 year I stayed there. She was in a sorority, and she snuck me in, and I stayed in the sorority, which is she could have gotten in big trouble, and then she had some roommates, and they lived in a house, and so Borky and I stayed in there. But we were driving, and we're just coming outside of Ritzville, which is about, for those that don't know, it's about an hour and a half drive. We were past about an hour and a half drive to a probably 4.5 hour to get to Tacoma to UPS College, University of Puget Sound. And I'm like, wow, those headlights are getting dimmer and dimmer. And pretty soon the car starts going, pfft.
Oh.
It's been running on battery. The alternator had gone out on the car.
Oh, shit.
And we're out like before Moses Lake. It is desert. It's high desert and a freeway. And there's occasional farm. You can see the glowing of the light of these farms. But you can see.
And each one of them is just some big, huge farm owner with a beautiful daughter. He says, you can stay. You don't touch my daughter.
Don't you touch her.
You touch her.
Yep. Don't you even look at her.
Next thing you know, shots are flying through the air, salt in the air.
And that was probably going through my head. But Bork goes, hey, look, you could see the lights. We're probably pretty close. Maybe we can push it up over this slight little hill, and I'll have to show you some road trip. It's funny. We pushed this car. Mind you, we had a race the next day.
Yeah.
And we're pushing this car up this gradual, 3%. And Volvos aren't light. And we finally get to the top of this little hill, and I'm like, Bork, that's 8 miles away. We're not going to make it.
Oh, fuck.
And I said, there's a farmhouse over here. Don't you look at that girl. No.
Don't you even think about it.
Don't do it. Don't ruin it for us. So anyway, we knocked on the door. It was nothing. And so we had to cross the freeway, I-90, to get, because we saw another farm, and it was probably a half a mile away. So we're sitting there, it was pretty light traffic because it was probably 9 o'clock on,
Friday.
Yeah, Friday. But it's Moses Lake. It's not that busy. And I remember having brand new pair of socks that I just opened up, Pearly Zoomies. Remember their socks?
Oh, God, yeah.
Chaos.
Oh, yeah.
And so we cross the freeway, and we step over a barbed wire fence, and I step right into a creek and just ruined these socks. There's a pearly white. And then, son of a gun.
Yeah.
So we go over to the farm.
You're stranded in the middle of nowhere.
Absolutely.
And your priority is that you just fucked up a pair of socks.
Yes. That's what I'm thinking. Because I am low on budget here. I'm running on fumes.
Cars can be fixed.
Yeah, absolutely.
You cannot
it's not mine.
You cannot bleach that crick out of my Pearl Zoomy socks.
That's right. So Bork follows me, and we go, and we knock on the door, and the guy's kind of really kind of standoffish. Yeah. I said, this is going to sound strange, but on the other side of the freeway, we were going westbound. Battery died out. I think it's the alternator. I need to call my brother. I had to call him. I think, God, I hope he's home. I had to call collect.
Oh,
right?
Shit. Yeah.
It's long distance.
Will you accept the charges from, we're on milepost 684, 389.
Car broke down. Did we get it all in?
And then they say, no, I do not accept.
Yeah.
And then there's another the glossary.
So he
collect calls.
Yeah. So he says, all right, I'll come and pick you up, and we'll tow the car back to Ritzville at a gas station, and then I'll deal with it later. And I said, okay, then I'll pick up my car. We'll just go back to Spokane. So mind you, by the time my brother finally gets a truck, borrows it from his father-in-law, he has a tow strap. And Borky sits there, and my brother says, okay, I'm just going to tow you. And the tow strap was maybe 10 feet. It was not that long.
Oh, shit.
And we got it all hooked up, and my brother takes off, and we get onto the freeway, and he's doing 60. And it's like, I have no brakes because they're power brakes. There's another thing.
Holy shit. So if he touches the brakes, you're slamming into the back of him at 60 miles an hour.
I had a couple of times he slowed down to try and, he was passing cars. I'm like, you idiot. And I had both of my feet on there because it's all manual at that point in time. Borky didn't want to sit with my brother because he didn't know him that well. My brother's, it's just, he's in the passenger seat in a towed car. And I'm thinking, I'm killing 2 lives out of this thing. This is going to end in tears. And I'm like, we finally get into, and I have no way to communicate to my brother. I can't honk. The battery's dead.
Yeah.
I can't do anything to indicate. I'm like sticking my hand out the window. He's all the way down. I'm sweating bullets. My arm just saturated, pit sweat. And Borky fell asleep, and he's like, all right. So, and I'm just, it smelled like shit in there because I think I dropped a couple. And so we ended up finally getting back into town. I think we pulled up into Tacoma like at 2 o'clock 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, shit. So you still went to the race?
And we still raced the next day. Well, it's a bike race. It's the last one of the season. You're not going to frickin' miss it. You never say never.
Oh, my God.
So, I mean, but how I didn't die then. I called Christina and I said, hey, just to let you know, we're running a little late. I had car problems.
Yeah.
Probably my calculation. And I told her, and that's fine.
Holy shit. The only thing I did was throw a rod in a car in Castle Rock, Colorado. I might have talked about that on the show before, where we were stranded.
I think you should revisit it with a little more detail because it is a good story. Because our buddy Jack's involved.
Jack and I. Well, first of all, that whole trip started with me driving down to Casper. That was the time I went to Casper, and Jack,
he was racing it.
He was racing it, and I was going to come down after like stage 1 or 2 and catch up with them, and then we were going to go down to Colorado for nationals and stuff like that. And
it's like so. That was a 5-stage. That was a pretty big race back then.
It was pretty
Casper,
hefty.
Wyoming.
Yeah.
And that's about how many hour drive?
Oh, shit. I would say, well, it was
12?
a 76 Volkswagen Super Beetle. So add 4 to every trip. So I'd say it was a good 12 hours. Mm-hmm. And Jack had asked me kindly to
And your ages were?
Oh, fuck. I'm going to guess 17.
17.
Yeah, I'm going to guess that. Maybe 18. It might have been. No, I wasn't ready for college yet. So it was 17.
That's a good part of that story because if you think about it.
Just teens unleashed.
Yeah.
And Jack asked me to take his girlfriend, who I had no idea who she was. I met her when I picked her up to take her to Casper, Wyoming. Whose fucking parents say, okay, sweetie pie, we'll see you later. Get into a car with a strange, perverted, lame-shaved kid with a bike on his Super Beetle, and just, here we go. And she begged me the whole time. Let me be specific. She begged me the whole time because she was really excited to see Jack. She's just, Jack. And we were supposed to stay in Bozeman, Montana, which would have been probably back in those days about a 7-hour drive. Mm-hmm. And we were supposed to stay there with some friends of my parents, and she kept begging me to keep going because she really wanted to see Jack. And she said, I'll even help drive. And I was like, all right, fine, you seem nice enough, and so we can do it. And then so we get outside of Bozeman, Montana, and it starts getting dark, and she forgot to inform me that she has bad vision and she can't drive at night. And so I'm like, oh, fuck, okay. So I'm driving all the way to Casper, Wyoming. And needless to say, I fell asleep at the wheel. But I fell asleep at the wheel.
Those Beetles were very safe cars. So
yeah, absolutely. Great impact resistance.
Yeah, because
crumple zones everywhere.
Oh yeah, because the front end is just air.
Exactly.
Yeah,
airbags.
And the windshield's like two inches from your face.
The airbag is the hood of the car.
Yeah.
And so I wake up. I wake up while I'm passing a car. And I looked across the passenger side, and the only thing I see are what I would then call an elderly couple, but which is probably about my age now. And the husband is looking at me, and the wife is looking at me, and the wife is leaned so far forward that she's basically into his lap, and she's got a death grip on his left nipple. And they're both looking at me in total terror, and they're screaming because I probably passed them with like a 3-inch gap. And imagine
with your mouth open.
Yeah, imagine looking over and seeing some dumb shit asleep inches from your car. So we did that, and then that's fast forward to that. And then fast forward, it just came down to that poor car. And Jack and I were driving one day because I lived at the Olympic Training Center back in the day. So we were staying in Denver for a while, and I wanted to go back to the OTC to get my mail, of all things. Who the fuck cares? But I wanted to get my mail. And so we're driving in Castle Rock, and it was super windy, and I'm just going, God, the car just, this wind is so bad, I can't keep the car going. And Jack says, turn down the stereo, because I had installed my own auto reverse tape deck.
Oh, auto reverse.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
What music?
Thing. Probably something Australian. I had a problem with Australian music. Midnight Oil, InXS, Ice House. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. And things like that. And I turned down the stereo, and all we heard was this wham, 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 wham. We'd thrown a rod in the car, and so we pulled over to the side of the road. And again, another memory blank. I don't know how we got out of Castle Rock, Colorado. I still to this day don't know how we got out of Castle Rock, Colorado. I don't know how we got back to Denver. I don't know how I got from Denver in my hotel, in my Motel 6, where I was staying for 3 weeks because my parents gave me the credit card. Motel 6s weren't that expensive back then.
No, it was like $29.99 a night or something.
And I think some friends of mine, I can mention them because it's in a positive tone. I think Kirk Willett, former domestic pro, gave me a ride to nationals. But then I my parents put the car on a semi-flatbed truck and drove it home. And I mean, I don't know, again, all this shit that I just don't know how it happened and how everything came together. And I just thought this was normal. How was it? It wasn't. I mean, I'm sure people are going, oh yeah, I can top that with a team, with a club or with a race or something like that. But it's just and that was sometimes some of the more amazing. I mean, I have tons of stories where Doug drove the school bus into a barn and took out the first 4 rows of bikes. And because they were steel back then, Doug knew what he was doing, so he stayed up all night slamming fork blades into the ground to bend bikes back to normal so we could all race the next day. And
well, the thing is, realistically, yeah, they didn't fail because it's steel, but
yeah,
they didn't. Most likely, he didn't have a jig, so it wasn't straight. Your bike probably pulled one way or another. You might have increased the rake, or the handling of that's just been compromised. Yeah, that's funny.
And he was probably terrified about the fact that he's going to bring all these people home, and they're going to go like, "You asshole, my kid's bike is destroyed because you." Doug said maybe 30 sentences to me in his life, in our lifetime together. Doug is still alive. He's still doing fine. But at one point, I think I had a problem with money, and he said, he always called me Buck. And he said, I got $40 in my account, Buck. This was my coach. He had $40 in his checking account at one point in time, because I guarantee you, the dues he was making off of the Arrivee Cycling Club were probably $10 a rider per month. Maybe have 50 riders, 40 riders back then, and he's not making dick, and he's trying to get all this stuff around. So I mean, did you have teams that you traveled with, or was it primarily we'll meet you there kind of a thing?
Because I was the elder of most of the teams, I had the reliable car, so I drove. I had teammates. There was one of the trips on my GTI, I had 5 guys because we didn't have seatbelt law. So in a Mark 1, so it was a 1983 Mark 1 GTI. You had bucket seats in the front. There's 2, and we stuck 3 guys. One was 6 foot. The other one was probably
in the front,
in the back.
Oh, okay.
So
I thought you said 3 in the front, and I said so. One had an emergency brake up his ass.
Pretty much. So
let me know when you want to stop.
It's compact. It's a small car.
Yeah,
and we had to borrow Curtis. We call him Coitus. Coitus interruptus child. Everybody has a nickname. That's another thing about it. Coitus came from a very, very sheltered life, and he entered cycling with this naivete that was soon shredded by the end of the year.
Yeah. That was my first bus trip.
Yeah. But Coitus and he got his nickname Schmelson on this trip. And then Ramsey was there, and God, who was another one? There's somebody else was with us, and so we had to borrow Coitus's dad's car rack because it extended the poles.
The bars were
because we had 5 bikes on
bars
the
were
roof.
wider. Yeah.
So I'm driving, and I'm trying to crank it down to the old rain gutter Yakima rack and stuff, and I think it's going to hold, guys. And we're taking out. It was windy as hell.
How those things stayed on those tiny racks, the rain gutters.
Yeah,
which was just a tiny piece of metal.
And I never had a problem before, but the part that would go into this long, probably about a 4-inch piece that clamped down inside the rain gutter.
Yeah.
Usually had a rubber gasket or a rubber,
foot on
there. Yeah. Well, the rubber was gone, so I just cranked down hard enough that it didn't bend that rain gutter, and then we had a third rail for our spare wheels.
Oh,
I had like 20 wheels.
The forks.
Yeah,
those forks. Did you put the wheel? I have 2 on my car right now, simply out of nostalgia.
And if they didn't have a wheel, they go.
Yeah. Or like if they had wheels in them, the wheels would be spinning at 60 miles
crazy.
an hour because they were
good for the bearings.
They were aerodynamic as shit. Yeah.
So we were no more than 5 minutes out of town, and for those in this area, we were just going by the Medical Lake exit, and this gust of wind comes, and I hear this, and then all of a sudden, the car kind of lifts a little bit, and I look in my rearview mirror, and the whole rack with all 5 bikes launches off of my car, turns completely hits upside down, and then spins right side up, spinning in the middle of the freeway. Cars are going left and right, and the semi's going.
It's like a scene from Chips.
It was crazy, and everybody in the car at the same time just like shit. We just saw like our life disappear because everything was based on those bikes. And I pulled over as fast as you never seen people pull out a 2-door, rabbit just
run it down.
We were running, we had to pull it off the roadside. Cars are like beep beep boop. It was, son of a gun. And so I can't remember. I think I took an old tube and cut it up and set it on the rails, so it stick. And so
hold to the rack.
Yeah,
so
we
it
were
just slid off?
It slid. The wind caught it and slid enough to the point where it broke loose. And all the bikes were attached to the rail. And hardly anything. A couple of our seats and some hoods got, because it hit upside down. It just flipped completely. It just flipped and bounced and then landed on right side up, just spinning down the freeway right in the middle of the lanes. 2 lanes. Oh, man. So, and that was Mount Hood. We're heading down to Mount Hood, and that was a big race. That was right after, that was in 1988 because we just had the Olympic trials here in Spokane.
Yeah.
And so I got to know, not really close, but again, Christina.
Mm-hmm.
She knew Nate Reese and Gavin O'Grady, who were the alternates for the Olympic team. Yeah. And they had a place for us to shower down there and stuff, so we used their hotel room to do that.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I do remember right after those 88 trials, our club was doing so well that we actually had a Subaru sponsorship, and a local dealer provided us with cars.
Wow.
And I remember we took those again to Milwaukee every year because that was just like, you want to teach kids how to bike race, junior team how to bike race, send them to Milwaukee because it's not a stage race. Every day was a different individual race. And I remember we drove down there in those piece of shit Subarus. This was back when Subarus were not what they are now. This is pre-Outback.
The GLs.
Yeah, they were 4-cylinders.
Spare tires in the front where the engine is.
Oh shit, were they?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't remember that, but I do remember that they could barely get out of their own wake.
Yeah.
But the coolest thing we found out about them was when we would go out at night in between races is the windshield wiper sprayers. You could turn them, and we would turn them to the sides, and we would spray them at people while we drove down the cool places in town. And I don't know how we didn't get the shit kicked out of us, because we were just a bunch of little skinny little douchebags.
Yeah.
And how people didn't just go, hey, you just squirted me with, your
blue
fluid.
Yeah.
I think after a while we just started putting water in there and just laughing our asses off about it. And doing those types of things. I do remember one time, this has nothing to do with a team trip, but there was once I did a solo trip, and I stayed in a hotel, and I was racing, 1-2s, and the crit was super late in the afternoon. I think it was Bellevue or something like that, Bellevue, Washington. Mm-hmm. And I had most of the day to kill, and so I just decided to turn on TV, and VH1. Pink Floyd's The Wall was on, and I was like, I've never seen this, might as well sit back and watch it. I have never raced more poorly in my entire life. I left that hotel that day seriously considering whether suicide was an option, and I don't want to make fun of suicide because it's not a joke, but I was so depressed after that movie that I got to the crit, and I was just like going, fuck it, why, there's nothing what the hell, we don't need no education.
That's right.
It was so heavy, but because I had nobody to kind of talk me out of things. I spent so many years in between age categories of my teammates. When I was a junior, especially, most of the guys were in a either older or younger group, and so I was always racing alone, and I kind of learned how to do that. And I'd go to races by myself, and I don't know if I could do that anymore. It's just such a weird experience to not have somebody to at least go, hey, Pat, get out of bed. Let's go do this, because I'd be just like, screw it. I don't feel good. I'll pull a Sam.
Yeah.
Just make it a donation.
Yeah, just donate those.
So I don't know if this is just, an old waxing sentimental kind of thing, but it seems like, and I'm sure I'd love to hear from people in the fact that the road trip lives on. One of the most memorable recent road trips we had was the White Tiger night in Montana.
Yeah.
And I just, sometimes those shitty hotels or a terrible dinner or, David looking at me across the table and saying, how many beers you had, fucker? The night before a road race. Those types of things are so many times. Yes, the show's about cycling, but some of those adventures are so absolutely memorable. I have no idea how I did in a lot of races, but I remember those moments, in the middle of nowhere, stranded, sitting there trying to figure. I don't remember how I got home, but but all those experiences were so critical. And another episode, I want to talk about the people we bumped into and rubbed elbows with.
And I think that the people themselves, the characters themselves, are really a part of the road trips too.
Yeah.
I've gone to races by myself, but I'll do a brief little Spokane. By the time it was 93, I think around 93, that road racing was getting few and far between.
Yeah.
I mean, just even races.
Mountain bike.
Yeah, everything was all about mountain bikes.
Yeah.
And they had a WIM series, it was Washington, Idaho, Montana, and everybody just that's what everybody's focusing on. But in Perma, Montana, which is a small little town. It's a farm town. St. Regis is before you get into Missoula. So it's a little bit north of that. You can go into Perma, and there's Perma is probably just a community more than anything else. Out in the middle of nowhere. Carl Amons?
Yeah, Amon.
Yeah. Carl Amon. He's the one that put this race on.
Oh my God. And
it was this big, I think 65, 70 mile big loop up there. And it was a challenge. You kind of climb up on top of the plateau and everything. But because it was so close, it was like a 2.5 hour drive. We had like a convoy of cyclists just going down and was out. The staging was out in the middle of the field. There was no bathrooms. And we woke up like at 3-4 o'clock in the morning. We got a race at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
We all had bowel movements just knocking on our back door. And
stretching
and I'm like, I don't know what I am not going to shit and not be able to wipe my ass. I'm going to have to look.
Yeah.
Well, there's a character who got into racing. He's a fantastic, one of the best guitarists around here, but he is as manic as can be.
I know who you speak of.
Yes.
Yes.
And Kerry is his name.
Yeah.
And Kerry decided that he couldn't wait any longer. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And he comes back and he goes, just go over the hill. He goes, I just opened up a brand new pair of Pro Izumi socks. I used one. You can use the other one. And he holds up a clean sock. And I go, I can't do that. And he goes, well, what am I going to do? I just burnt one. And this guy goes, hey, you need some toilet paper? Toss it to me. And the look on his face as he's holding that sock, had he waited another couple of minutes, he wouldn't have to throw away a fresh, brand new pair of Pearl Izumi socks.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is how a comedian closes up an act with a callback joke.
Poop.
From the Pearl Izumi sock bit from the beginning all the way through to the end. Masterful work, Mr. Maine. That was nice. Be sure to tip your waitresses. Oh my God. But I think I miss those days, and I don't know if those days are going to come back. And I would love to know from people if the road trip still exists, and if it still exists in any type of frequency. You guys on the East Coast, you guys in California, are you able to get to a race every weekend? I'm sure probably SoCal might have that kind of a thing. I'm sure our friends over across the pond probably have something like that. I would hope. I don't know. I know that our friends in UK probably have a lot of time trial based events, but it's those things that you just think are going to last forever, and they don't. And I guess that's maybe what makes them special. But after 100 combined years of racing, it bums me out sometimes that we don't see it anymore. You know, I know Jackson would bite off a huge piece of that if he could know that he could race every weekend all summer long.
Oh yeah.
Not go every weekend, but be able to pick and choose more than two events or two big events. No, shit. Training races, the idea of going to a race simply for training, just to go out. I'm not talking weeknight races. I'm talking like I'm going away for a weekend in Oregon just to race, to prepare for another race. You can't race into fitness anymore.
Well, I mean, there was quite a few 5-day stage races like Casper.
Yeah.
We had Washington Trust, Redlands.
Yeah.
Cascade.
I did Cascade many years. That was a brutal one.
In
early
Oregon.
season. Yeah.
They're trying to bring that back, and I think I'm going to try and make an effort. I mean, we talk about not race. Yeah, because I was watching, was it Chris Horner was interviewed. I was watching. Oh, it's the National Championships.
Yeah.
And, it was typical American, like, low budget. And they ran into Chris Horner, and he mentioned about trying to get that race back he's involved with.
Oh, he is? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, he's just a crit now, but they want to start bringing more stage races. And so, it's a cool, very cool town.
Absolutely. There's
the
a
Diva
video.
lives there.
Yeah, the Diva lives there.
Yeah.
I did a video on Bike Towns, the only episode of Bike Towns on our YouTube channel. Got an interview with the mayor. A whole lot of really cool cyclists there. But yeah, big time cycling town. Really expensive, but really nice cycling town.
Good beer.
Oh my God, there's more beer than in that town. I think per capita than there is in this town.
Yeah, easy.
I would think.
Easy.
They have beer for fucking dogs.
Yep.
Beer for dogs. Beer for dogs. Well, okay, that was just tip of the iceberg, man. I know I could keep going on about road trips for 5 more hours at least, but I just kind of wanted to dip our toe in the water since it was just going to be the two of us tonight.
Yeah,
to just do some of that stuff. And for those of you listening to us now, if it sounded like two guys sitting in the park at a table, playing chess or something like that, great. If it sounded like two boring guys at a park, waxing sentimental, go listen to the move. Let's switch our bases to the news brought to us by our friends at I didn't pick one. Untapped Maple, which is beautiful and brilliant stuff. Oh, I got to also mention Rafa because I got the Rafa link up there recently, and I'd like to thank them. And please use the link at Rafa because I need beer money. Speaking of retro, did you hear the return of the Manny Young Wall? The Philadelphia Classic is back.
No.
It is back. Organizers and city's officials announced the revival of the race that ran for over 3 decades from 85 to 2016 and was once the highest rated UCI single-day race in the United States. And this is a quote from their mayor. Philadelphia is proud to welcome back one of the world's greatest sporting events. The Philadelphia Cycling Classic is back, slated for August 30th, placing it in what's shaping up to be an interesting late summer, early fall block of pro racing in North America. Usual race dates are maintained for If usual race dates are maintained for 2026, it will precede the Maryland Cycling Classic, which just happened a little bit ago.
Then you get the pros, the European pros.
And the Canadian Grand Prix in Quebec and Montreal, which Brandon McNulty won. That was a wink.
Yeah.
In Montreal. So imagine that. We've got boom, 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 boom. That's going to bring something pretty impressive back to Philly. It used to be our U.S. Pro Championships. I doubt they're going to do that because that's got to be happening earlier season. But to know that some races are coming back is a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah. And a good time because you know what Worlds is next year?
Is in Canada?
Montreal.
Oh.
I see a road trip in my life coming.
Holy shit. Brent Soderberg, a friend of the show,
photos?
took some beautiful photos of both Quebec and Montreal.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. That would be a really cool
trip. That's at our
trip.
doorstep.
That is. It's close enough.
Yeah. I think that's going to be my trip, big trip for next year instead of going to Europe. I've never seen the Worlds. And I can honestly say that I am in. Yeah, yeah.
As is probably my wife.
Yeah.
I think she would go. I think that'd be kind of a fun.
Get there a couple of days. It's a week long. You got TTs. You got all the different categories.
Yeah.
Juniors, women's, men's.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's
and a beautiful city.
And it's going to be October, right?
Usually it's around end of September.
It's
October.
in the current Worlds are not this weekend, but next weekend.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be doing our World Championship show next weekend.
Yeah.
So there we go. Speaking of pro cycling, according to both a man whose name I'm going to have a horrible time pronouncing, named by Ciro Scognamiglio of La Gazzetta dello Sport, the rumored transfer of Juan Ayuso to Lidl Trek is all but complete, which could be an interesting signing to have him at Lidl Trek. I'm starting to wonder if Juan Ayuso is a little bit of a troublesome character, but it's just going to strengthen the reins at Lidl Trek, which would be a really good transfer. So hopefully that'll be good.
Yeah.
Also in signings, Matthew Riccatello, a U.S. rider who just had an amazing Vuelta.
5th place.
Yes, he's signed for how many years? 3-year deal with Decathlon.
Wow.
Ajay Desert.
That is not here. No.
Yeah. So, no.
Sweet.
Is it Ajay Desert still?
Is Decathlon. Ajay Desert.
Ajay Desert. Okay, so it is. Okay, so that should be a really interesting transfer. I would like to see how he turns out in terms of what their expectations are of a Grand Tour rider. Because I think we're running into... this kid can climb. This kid is 23, and he can hit the hills.
Weighs 120 pounds.
Yeah, which is beautiful for a race like the Vuelta, which is so, peppered with climbs.
Yeah.
I hate when people grab somebody and think, well, you're going to be our Tour de France contender, and it ends up this just gigantic pressure, letdown. We watch it on Tour de France Unchained. We watch the emotional and mental breakdown of a human being on our screens, and I don't want it to be this 23-year-old kid.
Yeah.
I hope expectations aren't higher than they should be. So there we go. Last story in the news, the return of Tadej, as mentioned earlier. He's going to head to Rwanda for the Road Championships. I already said that, later this week. Buoyed by his performance at the Grand Prix Montreal after revealing he missed almost a week of vital training in early September. Boy, that made an effect. That really slowed him down. He's going to target both the time trial and the road race.
Double up.
Yeah, he's going to shoot for the double and see what happens. Of course, Remco Evenepoel is going to be his biggest rival, and the road race, if you think about that team for that for Pogacar, it could be incredibly deep.
Yeah.
Incredibly deep, seeing what's going on there. He obviously won the race last year with a long solo breakaway and a dominating performance. Slovenian national coach is hoping that he can complete the rare double with the tough circuits in both races expected to suit him. What do you think? I mean, is there any other rider who could do it, or are we starting to?
Yeah, I think I haven't really seen the course. It's a very hilly classic style.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be certainly up his alley. If it came down to the sprint, if he couldn't for some reason shake off Evenepoel in the road race, he's not.
Yeah.
Evenepoel is not a sprinter. He's got him, and not that Tade's a great sprinter, but he can hold his own. But I could see. I mean, any sharp, the steepest hill, whatever. If it's 30, 40 kilometers inside to the finish, that's when Tade attacks, and no one can stay on his wheels.
Yeah.
So the TT will be a different thing, though. That's just mano a mano.
I keep wondering when the tactic used against Peter Sagan is going to apply, where everybody just watches just that one rider. But it's already been applied. They already do watch Tade for every single moment. But as you said, those accelerations, you just can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And again, it makes me wonder, is it becoming too formulaic? But I guess we should all just sit back and enjoy what we're seeing and experiencing with this guy.
Well, I was thinking about that point real shortly, that I enjoyed the Vuelta, but it really didn't. I've had better viewing, or enjoyed the viewing better in the past, and I'm thinking it was a close race.
It was incredibly close.
Yeah, but it just didn't for some reason this year, and I'm thinking if Tade was there, it would have been. Think about it. I probably would have been. Oh wow, this is. I mean,
really. So we've become programmed for that.
Yeah,
style of dramatics.
Exactly, and I think maybe some of it too. To be honest, that protest was kind of a, breaking it up, and it was kind of unfortunate. Yeah, but I don't think that weighed heavy. But nevertheless, I think I don't think it gets boring with him racing. I think he has a very great style. He seems to be a decent person.
Yeah.
Just doesn't want any more selfies.
I don't want any either.
No.
I'd take them of myself and my wife. I will say I'm happy that Vingegaard walked away with that win. He went into that
last stage was.
Yeah. And I think he was pretty sick too.
Mm-hmm. I think everybody got sick.
Pretty sick. Yeah. I will say it's a darn shame that those protests happened, but I also, it's an even bigger shame of what they were protesting about. And, we talked about this in the last show, pretty, as far as we can approach it. I'm scared to approach it just because I don't want to end up looking like I'm leaning. And because this is not a political show. So there we go. I will say that final Vuelta podium presentation where awesome. They basically looked like they were standing on coolers.
They were.
Were they really?
Yeah.
And I just thought that was...
So, I don't know if you know the story. Visma Lisa bike, because there was no celebration.
Yeah.
They created this little and called in all the jersey winners and the podium and said, we're going to do our own.
Really?
And they had the music, actually, the Danish national anthem for...
Just some dude with a sound system and an iPod.
Exactly. They
iPod,
probably...
Whoops. Phone. Yeah. Whoops.
But...
for the glossary.
Yeah, that's for the glossary.
Yeah.
But I thought that was pretty good. And everybody seemed to have a lot of fun with it, too.
And again, to kind of wrap things up with all this, it brought me back to those tiny little goofy ceremonies where it's for the love of racing. It's not for the glamour. It's not for the photographs. I mean, these guys busted their ass for 3 weeks, and they gave them a little reason to celebrate and spray champagne on each other. And you could see that they almost enjoyed that more than they would have the pomp and circumstance of a major grand tour press. Everything's millions of dollars on the line. You all got to act a certain way and wear a certain hat. And it's like, fuck it. Let's just spray champagne on each other and go laugh about it and have a beer. So I thought it was great. And so I just think we're going. Before I get to the final question on the night and play that little music, I do want to say to everybody, look on our website as well as our Patreon for exclusive gear and upcoming launch of C bikes. I create after my friend Terry's incident, and hearing about other incidents, I've decided to put a little bit of my money where my mouth is, and create this little C bikes campaign, and just about trying to encourage people, to, especially cyclists and drivers, to think about what you're doing when you're out there, because lives are literally on the line. And well, not literally, because they would be on a clothesline. The lives are on the line. I've created some little glow in the dark stickers, and I've created some wristbands that are going to be coming, just because I think there's a way to start to kind of creep into this mentality of people and just calmly try to tell people that, hey, I go for a bike ride and I want to come home alive. And so I don't want this to sound like a money grab, but in order to cover the expenses and then to make money for some sort of a marketing and ad campaign, I'm selling the stickers for $1 a piece. I'm selling the bracelets for $1 a piece. And if you buy the bracelets, please put them on your right wrist. As weird as that sounds, because I want to start encouraging people to do the Dutch reach. So you are actually using your right wrist to open your car door if you're on this side of the pond, and it causes you to look over your shoulder and see if there are any cyclists coming, and just little things like that. And I just kind of want to start doing that and see what we can do, see what we can get more cyclists home alive. This is just bullshit, and I want people to see bikes. I want them to put their fucking phone down and see us out there, because we're husbands, we're brothers, we're wives, we're daughters, we're all those types of things. So there we go. Sorry, off pulpit. Where's my outro? There it is. First of all, Paul, thanks for reminiscing with me, man.
Yeah.
This is the kind of shit I could do all day.
And we'll do it Saturday.
We will. I should just bring a recorder. Yeah. It brings us to our final question. Paul, do you have any games on your phone? And if so, what games?
Absolutely none.
You have none?
None. Absolutely.
You play no games?
No games.
You don't play Wordle? You don't play anything like that?
No. My wife does. She does Wordle. She does Scrabble. She does Words with Friends.
Okay. God, Words with Friends is still a thing. Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Well, she's had. Well, I think she had a couple of them that were since way back, like in 2012. One was from Canada.
Yeah.
But I think he ended up getting too involved with his life.
How are you so disciplined? How do you do that? You probably interact with people in public, though, too.
I'm not much of a sitter. I don't like playing card games, board games. I don't like video games because it's wasting time.
You're better than I, because I do the daily Wordle with my sister my sister-in-law and my close friend, who I guess is technically my aunt. I do the mini crossword on Apple with my wife every day, and I've been kicking her ass most of the time, and I'm really proud of that. And I started this fucking game called Royal Kingdom, and I got to stop, because as soon as I get to the point where I'm thinking about spending 99 cents on an advantage, delete it.
Good call.
It's time to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Everybody, thanks for listening to another episode of the show. Be sure and subscribe and drop us a review on our on iTunes. I'd love to see some more of those. They're always fun to read, even in their bad. Somebody said I didn't know who Lil Wilcox was, and I still can't get that through my heart. Because I didn't know who she was at the time. But now she's a badass. So she always was. Thanks, man.
Thank you.